Welcome to the Secret Handshake. This is Sev.
And I'm Dragaur.
Today we're going to talk about the Andor trailer that came out, the Star Wars Andor trailer. What is your thoughts? What's your first reaction there, Dragaur?
My first reaction was clang clang because that's the entire the soundtrack through the entire thing is just people banging on things. um,
Bang, bang away.
I think there was some really cool stuff about it, like anything rebellion and or empire related. I think is pretty neat. So I do like that. I also like Mon Mothma, like seeing like a little bit of her story type thing is kind of cool. Um, the thing that I don't really care about is honestly the character Andor. Like I he was fine in Rogue One, but I didn't think he was interesting enough to, however many years it's been, like 3 or 4 years later, make a show about him. I'm sure it'll be entertaining. I just never thought like, you know what I really want to see is Andor. I really just want more of him. But that's
Um,
you know.
I would tend to agree that the character Andor doesn't appeal to me much. I think what I'm really interested in here is that it's a grittier
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars. It doesn't appear to be any Jedi's. It's
Mm-hmm.
just like about the people. To me, I one of the things I've been really looking forward to in a Star Wars series. If you remember in Han Solo movie,
Mm-hmm.
he was fighting on a planet, and it was just like, you know, people fighting one on one
Mm-hmm.
with basically a war movie. Essentially, it was for
Mm-hmm.
like about 5 minutes, and then it was gone. I personally want to see more like war movie style type of. I think
Yeah.
I actually like Star Wars Rogue.
One.
Was it called Rogue
Rogue
One? It
One.
was called Rogue One. I personally actually like Rogue One. I think it had its problems, but I think it was a nice change from having superpowers, not superpowers, but force
Yeah.
powers and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I think that was really cool to see, and I'm actually kind of excited. From what I heard too, is that compared to the Mandalorian TV series where they did some of the work with on like that stage where
Mm-hmm.
they had screens everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
This apparently is not using any of that from my understanding.
Mm.
It's a lot of more like outdoor prop stuff or stage building and other things like that. And obviously, going to be CGI and stuff like that. So it's a little
Yeah.
different. I'm kind of curious and see how they're going to do that. So I am personally excited to see it as a more gritty, just kind of like Mandalorian's a little bit like that way.
Mm-hmm.
Mandalorian now has some more Jedi stuff in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because of Grogu. But I don't know. I'm just excited because of that. I think it'd be pretty cool. I want to see more of that. I want to see more of away from the Jedi, more of the stuff that's happening in the background. And I think it's great that you don't put these into movies. I think it'd be a great movie, but I think they're better as a long form story. So
I don't
giving time for
disagree.
character development.
I think well, the funny thing is how I was saying like I don't really care about Andor specifically is how little he is featured in the trailer. I think that the one lady is shown in more frames than he is, and the one guy because he's in like a handful of the frames, which I found kind of interesting. But I do agree that I am interested in a more gritty war kind of story. Um, or I think in this case it might be more spy based, although I'm sure there's going to be plenty of fighting and stuff because Andor was more of a spy or whatever. The
Right.
thing that I do think could be cool is my favorite part of Rogue One was the big Imperial robot that had been reprogrammed, voiced by Alan Tudyk, and if they could incorporate him into it, that would be pretty cool. But who knows if he would even
Yeah.
do that? But it would be neat.
I think that'd be kind of cool. I also seen I'm pretty sure they had death troopers in here
Yep.
and stuff like that. I saw they had the Senate in here, which I
Mhm.
thought was it looks like the Senate.
Yeah.
They also have those the gunships
Yep.
look like the clones gunship, so it's kind of like a modified version of the clones gunship. So I don't think they're obviously clones because this is only supposed to be 5 years before I think Rogue One or something like that, or Episode 4. But I think this is 5 years before. But I think this is still like cool, showing got things that are still referencing the prequels, which is great
Yeah.
because I think the prequels, in my opinion, were good. I think obviously they weren't perfect, but I think they were pretty good. I enjoyed it, and I liked the clone
Yeah.
trooper stuff.
There was some stuff that I thought was very prequely because they have the ship crashing on like what looks like a more primitive planet at the beginning. I'm wondering if that's more of like a Clone Wars kind of thing, but that's just a guess. I don't know. And then they also show at a certain point some of the stormtroopers actually have clone trooper style helmets, if I remember right. Um, but yeah, anyway, there was a couple of things that reminded me that were very prequel-ish. Yep.
Maybe maybe what they could do is they start off the show with a little bit of like when he's like really young
Mm,
and like really early on in the or really
could
early
be.
on in the series where he's still young and like he loses his family or something like that, and that's how he gets involved with the different things, and then it
Hmm.
shoots back in the first episode, shoots to the present more present time of the series 5 years before episode 4, so maybe.
Yeah. Um, the one other thing that I thought was cool and reminded me a little bit of like a World War II type situation thing when you mentioned war movie. They have like some gritty looking freedom fighter type people, and one of them has something that looks sort of uh, like an AK-47 or something, uh, an old timey looking, not old timey, but like an older looking sort of uh, machine gun, and they have like these little forest huts that they built in the background, and that's something they actually did in World War II. They had, people would go deep into the forest and they would have like these little areas, but they would also be freedom fighters and they would go out and attack, German convoys and whatever during World War II. So that was my first thought when I saw that between the older style looking weapons and the little huts in the background that they had made, the forest huts or whatever. So I thought
Yeah,
that was
I
kind of
think
cool.
that this series has pretty good potential to be good. I mean,
Hmm.
it could be. Who knows? It could just not be that good. But I do think it has potential of being good if they like, they really go into the kind of stuff we're talking about, and
Hmm.
it's, unless they really develop the Andor character a lot better. I just I just didn't feel him, like you said. I didn't find him appealing in Rogue One,
Right.
but maybe they might make him more likable in this series. So
Half of the characters in Rogue One were appealing, and the other half were not. So that's that's not surprising to me at all. But um, yeah, I don't know. It could be fun. It could roll into some other shows too, like they like to do. Like I said previously, I think that they'll probably use Kenobi to roll into some other shows, maybe even into like Ahsoka or whatever, and kind of use it as a vehicle, just like they did with Mandalorian into Boba Fett and so on. And I think they actually did that a little bit with the Marvel universe too, here and there. So both with the shows and the movies, obviously. So, but yeah, I think overall it looks pretty great, and maybe it'll be fun.
yeah, I think I'm excited. It comes out this August,
Hmm.
so even if it's not good, we can make we can make content about it,
and it'll give us something to do this August.
right? Awesome. Anyway, uh, if that you good?
Yeah, I'm good. You good?
Okay, I'm good.
All right. Well, join me, Sev, and the noisy bird outside my window next time on Secret Handshake.